Hello everyone, so today I'm giving you a quick demonstration on something I have done before with Imagination Crafts. So today it is chucking it down outside, it's raining and horrible, so I thought what better way to spend my afternoon than showing you something that I've created previously before here at the Innovation Hub. So what I've got for you today is this sample I created. I think it was probably around about February time I made this, and I really enjoyed working on it. This is the Country Living collection. And what I'm going to be using today is the rice papers, the stencils from this, and we've got some of the MDF mouldings, and I really wanted to show you these because I love using them. I really enjoy working with those and they add so much to your work. So, what I'm going to start with is we've got the baseboard. Now this project is made purely from construction board, so it's so easy to make. I made it in probably about an hour when I actually created it, and so many people commented on it saying they wanted to do it, they would see that in a shop, they'd probably pay a little bit of money for that. So I thought what better way to show you guys how to get inspired to make something similar to this yourself. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is, you can see I've painted this with the hybrid acrylic, the taffy. Now this only needed one coat, doesn't need a primer, doesn't need anything like that. One coat straight on there, and you can use a stipple brush, you can use a sponge, absolutely anything you like really, and it will give you a good full coverage. And also with it being a hybrid, all those surfaces it will go onto, concrete, cardboard, fabric, plastic, all of that, and it's washable as well, you can wipe it clean. So you can have a home feature with this, or you can even have it outside if it is on a waterproof surface. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to stencil onto this. And this is one of my favourite stencils that we had in the collection. It's got such a big surface pattern, and you can pick out elements of it, so you could have all these nice swags and swirls around the corner, but I wanted to use the full stencil. So as you can see on my stencil here, I've gone through it in the mould green and the chalk paint, and it's given a really nice rustic, vintage, shabby chic effect. So I shall show you the paint that I'm going to use actually, and it's this one here, the antique in powder. I love using these, and they are very different from the other Cadence products. So we've got the acrylic paints, and they look very similar. If you were to look at those, you might think, oh, I don't really know what's different between those two. What sort of features am I going to get? Why should I use that one? What's different? And it will give you a vintage, brushed, powdery look, and it really does do exactly what it says on the bottle. Is antique in powder, and you will absolutely love the finish it gives. So I'm only going to give out probably a teaspoon amount. Don't want too much for this. I can always get a little bit more out if I need some. And with my stencil, you could go straight down, stenciling on there, but I want to use a stencil spray. And I want to do that because I want a nice crisp finish. I don't want any bleeds under there. And the best way to do that is I'm going to use my Cadence stencil spray. I absolutely love this product, I swear by it. I use it all the time. I have used other sprays before, loads of different types, but this one, it's really hard to find one that will work on all surfaces. So a stencil spray that will stick to glass, fabric, cardboard and paper all in one can is something you never really see. So what I am going to do is I'm going to read the comments as well, because I want you to see if any of you ask me any questions, because I will try and answer everything I can do, and if I can't, I'll get hold of the answers for you. So let's have a look. Let's see what we've got. So let's see. So Nikki has asked if the paints will make different effects, and yes they will. So the antique and powders, you can put this through a stencil and it will still give a matte effect. The acrylic, you can water this down and watercolour with it. So the two paints that I'm using today, which isn't very much considering it looks like quite a well-established piece, it's only using a few products, and it will give you all those effects. So I will show you as I go through what sort of outcome we will achieve with these. So first I'm going to stencil spray this. I'm going to do it into a cardboard box. We're in a ventilated area, so it's okay, but you always want to crack a window open, do it outside, because a few fumes will come away with it being an aerosol. So I've got a cardboard box here. Do excuse this setup. Here we are. Give it a quick shake, and I'm going to sort of grasp it like that. It might fall down. Here we are. So that's all you need. Didn't take much at all. Repositionable as well. So as I go to stick this down now, I'm going to put it around about there. That sort of looks central to me. Doesn't matter if it's not, it's vintage, it's shabby chic, it's a little bit old looking, so it will be fine. And smooth that down, and now I know that it's got a really good adhesion. It's tacked down, not going to get my bleeds under there, and I can go straight in with my paint. So the paint I'm choosing to use is the antiquing powder. I'm going to use a stipple brush for this. I love to stencil with a stipple brush. I feel like you've got much more movement. You can get into all the little tiny nooks and crannies in your stencils, and sometimes with a sponge it will just glide over there. So using a stencil brush, you can either tap it in or swirl it around, whatever works best for you. So I'll probably do a bit of both and see what we get. So I've got my paint here, and then I'm going to get a wet paper towel because I don't want it to be too thick with paint. I want it to be a nice dry effect. I'm going to go straight in, and as you can see there, from that tiny little dab that I've got, I'm actually getting quite a bit of coverage with that. And you don't have to rush with it either. The stencil spray isn't going to glue onto there and you're not going to be able to get it back off. Like I say, it's repositionable, so you can put it on, move it. If you've thought, oh no, actually I want it a bit further up, further to the side, it's not going to pull that paint off that we've already put down and ruin the surface, and it's not going to leave a horrible tacky mess on the board as well. So a little bit more, and you could mask this off if you wanted to. If you wanted maybe just a word or a few elements from it, mask those off, and you can sort of make your own artwork without having to use all of the stencil. So it's a little bit more unique to you. In some areas I've got much more painting than others. It doesn't matter too much because I do want a nice rustic effect at the end of this. And one really important thing is, you'll see me do it after I've just done this, and I always do forget to do it, so I'm still learning on this, is you want to get your stencil straight into water. So I will get some water to quickly chuck this into, and that way we know we're not going to have paint all over our stencil and it will stick there if we don't get it. So I've taken that off. I'm just going to have a look at the questions just to see if anyone has commented. Right, okie dokie, so we've got some more questions. Nikki, so she has asked if we can blend the paints. Of course we can. We can use those paints and we can mix them together. So if I wanted to get an ombre effect, we could go back through with the acrylic, we can put some of the green in there and blend them together. With them all being water-based, that means you can mix them and they're not going to separate. So if one was an oil-based and one was water-based, you might get a bit of separation there. With them both being water, we know we're not going to get any issues. So I'm going to pull that to a side and I'm going to rest it in water, and that way I know that it's not going to be ruined. I can keep using it over and over again. So this is already drying. With the antiquing powders, you've got about 10-15 minute drying time, but for the video I'm going to speed it up just a little bit with a hairdryer. So to excuse the noise. Sorry, currently having a hurricane, don't want everything to blow away. There we are. So I will just show you, just so you can see what outcome we've got there. And you might think, oh no, it's gone over his stencil, he's got some on there. There's a little bit out, there's a little bit here, and that's not going to matter because the next step is what really brings it all together, and that's to make it vintage and have a nice rustic edge. So this one, I'm going in with a sponge. This is a cut and dry sponge, so you can see it's very well used. You want to always soak these in water, but I find that letting them dry a little bit will give me a nice texture on there because the bits of dry paint will drag my paint through. So I'm going to go in to my antiquing powder again. I've still got some left in there. I'm going to go onto my wet paper towel and get the excess off there because I don't want too much. If I start from the top and work my way down, I'm instantly getting that really nice edge. And don't be too precious with this. You don't have to get scared and worried that it's going to ruin it. And if it does, you can always paint over it again. There's no reason why it would actually affect it and you can't carry on. So there's always a way around it. And there's never actually a proper way of doing anything in craft. You can just keep going until you're happy with it. And I'm actually quite happy with that. It's turned out quite nice. Here we are. So that will dry in a matter of seconds, just purely because it's such a light amount of paint. And you could see I hardly needed any paint on there. My sponge is still dry. So the paint is so nice to work with. It's not claggy, it's not going to all lump up. It works really well. So the next stage for this, I'm going to put this to one side. We've got our tray, and I'm just going to check my comments, see if anyone has commented. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So brushes, types of brushes and giving effects with the brushes. I always prefer my stencils with stipple brushes. You will get a nice textured finish with this. As you can see, all the bristles, this is quite an old one, but it still works perfectly well. I use it all of the time, it's my go-to stencil brush. And you can see the bits of dry paint in there and all of the little nooks and crannies that will give a nice scratched effect, and that's really what we're trying to achieve with this. If I wanted it to be nice and pristine, very clean, crisp piece, I'd probably use a sponge or I'd make sure I've got a thick layer of paint there so it's a nice strong pigment. So the next step, I just wanted to show you something actually that I did wrong on this one, and I've sort of overcome it, I've worked my way around it, but it was a mistake, and you can just see the difference, and I thought I'm not going to correct that because I want you to see just what you can do. So the difference between these two, this is our letter rack, so this is what we're trying to achieve here, but instantly looking at these two you can tell the difference. One is so much lighter than the other. And with our rice papers, I've got this beautiful rice paper here, this is from Country Living. We've got the flower basket, and I wanted to use all these elements. But with this one being so dull, is I've completely gone straight over with the grey board. And what that does is it dulls it down. The second you add that glue on there, you lose the colour. You want to keep it bright and poppy, and that's what makes these rice papers so beautiful, so you don't want to lose that. But if we instantly apply it over a light surface like this, the colours pop out and it keeps the pigment strong. So what I've done is I've white gessoed all of it. So we've got a nice white base coat on there, just a bit of gesso, nothing special, just stippled it straight on, and I can go in with my glue. So the first step I want to show you is I've glued some down already. I've got this nice piece here, and I want to take all of this off, and instead of using scissors or a scalpel or a really neat way of doing it, I'm going to go in with some sandpaper. And I love doing this, it's one of my favourite things to do. And all you do is rub around the edges, like this, and it will just come away. How nice is that? And that edge is so crisp. You would never be able to achieve that with scissors or a scalpel. It's so easy to do. That took me a couple of seconds, so no time at all. And with the rice papers, I'm going to show you how I lay them down, because everyone does it differently, and I find that everyone has their own techniques. I have mine, and I think that everyone's, really, you do whatever you like to do, but my preferred way of doing it is adding water to the back and feathering it slowly. So if I pop this to the side, you can see I've chosen some elements here from my rice papers. I love the flower basket in this one. So I've got snippets of those, I've got the butterflies and a little bit of script. So all of the elements in here, I'm going to include them in different ways because I didn't want to distort the rice paper so you couldn't really tell what was going on, but I wanted you to still get a nice effect of it all being decoupaged up. So what we're going to do is turn it over, and you can still see the design on the back, and these are actually called slugs in the rice paper. So you get large amounts of paper that build up, and as you tear them away they give nice little feathered edges and they look lovely. So all I'm going to do is take some fresh water and just your paintbrush and go straight in. And what I'm going to do is I want to capture this section of flowers here. That's what I want to try and take off. So looking at the back, you can see that they are here, and I'm just going to run straight over it with water. The reason why I'm doing this on the back is because I wouldn't want to affect any of my printing on the front. So straight onto the front may affect slightly a bleed on the ink or anything like that, and we want to make sure on the back we've got a nice crisp cut between where the colours separate. And if I move it away just like that, you can see how nicely it's tearing away. So it's not clean, it's not crisp, it's nicely edged. And if I show you there, look how nice and even that is. And when we blend these together, when we put them down, they're going to seamlessly blend, and that's what we want to achieve. So let's have a look, see if any of you have commented. Let's have a look. So in terms of painting the surfaces when we're adding rice papers, this one here, as you can already tell, that's so much different. And I added white to this one, but say if your rice paper had a yellow hue to it, you might want to add some of like the taffy acrylic behind it. If it's a very dark rice paper, it's got pops of white in it, I'd probably just put patches of paint behind there. And you can, if you wanted to, add paint to the back of your rice paper. So if you wanted to do it on a surface that you might not want to have painted because you were unsure if you wanted it on there first, paint onto your rice paper and you can test it out and you know what it's going to look like. That's definitely something to always bear in mind when you're doing this. So I've got my shelf here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with a flat brush and some of my decoupage glue. And you can either go straight on there, or you can pop it onto a surface and work from there. So what I'm going to do is get a little bit out of my bottle, and always shake it with the lid on. Never a good idea to take it off first, because it will go everywhere. So I've got a nice decent amount there. Any that I don't use is going back in the bottle, so it's always good to make sure we're keeping track of what we've got left. And that piece that I've just cut, well, torn away, I'm going to put my glue on the back of there. And you can be a bit messy with this is the fun bit. So you're cutting, you're sticking, you're layering up, and you're creating really whatever you want to, what your vision is. So I'm going to take that, and I've already, as you can see, I've already got some flowers here going on. So I think bringing them down to continue that on will look lovely. And all you have to do is lay that on, just like that. And I'm going to go straight back over. And this glue, have a quick check, see if anyone's commented. Let's have a look. So the glues, with these, I'm using this one, I forgot to tell you, I'm sorry. So the decoupage glue is brilliant, it will go onto all your surfaces. So the reason why I'm using that is it will give me a nice silky but matte finish at the same time, and it'll mean it's wipeable. So say if this is going to be a functional item, you can wipe it clean, you can spray it with your dusting mediums, all that sort of stuff, and it will make sure that it's never going to ruin it. So, and it's very easy to use, it's extremely easy to use, and it works so well with your rice papers. So I've got some edges there, and like I did before, I sanded it off, but because it's only a small amount, I can tuck it in there and keep going with it, and that way it wraps it perfectly, and it's so satisfying to watch it just tuck into all the edges, ease it along and brush over it, and that way we know now that's sealed. So I'm going to put a little bit on here, and then we're going to get the final effect when we stick it down. So I'm going straight back in with my decoupage glue again. I should probably move this away. This is one thing I do. I get crowded by stuff all over, and then I don't know where I put anything. So let's go keep a nice system going. But I think we all do that. I think, well, I know that I do for sure. And then by the time I've finished, I'm surrounded by a pile of paints and brushes and everything else. But that's all part of it. So I'm going to go into the corner with this one, and I'm just going to stick it on there. I like it there, that looks nice, and it doesn't matter if they overlap each other. It's not going to affect the design because it's all from the same rice paper. But that's not to say you can use different rice papers, use whichever designs you like. We've had some beautiful designs recently and some coming up soon, so there's going to be so many different ways and so many different effects. If you didn't want it a shabby chic effect and you wanted it to be nice and contemporary, I've got some lovely different types of stencils with so many effects, and I will be doing more videos on those as well. But this one I really enjoyed working with. So all the front there is covered, and that was so quick and easy to do. It'll take about 20 minutes to fully dry, speed it up with the hairdryer, but to be honest, it's nice and warm in here, so it's drying quite quickly. Let's have a look at the comments again. Let's have a look. So your rice papers, these will go onto all your surfaces as well. So if you wanted to use them outside, if you had a nice plant pot you wanted to decorate, put something on there, you could use them on there, and you know that once you've used your decoupage glue with it, it's going to be nice and waterproof. And let's have a look as well. And anyone can do this, absolutely anyone can do it. It's so achievable for all of the family. And they're all water-based products, they're non-toxic, so you don't have to worry about the kids helping you out with it. It's such a fun project to do, especially with us all being in at the moment. It's a really nice way to spend time, and they're such easy products to work with. Anyone can do it. Sorry, my throat's gone a bit dry. I'm just going to have a quick drink, I do excuse me. Sorry about that. So, I'll let this to be that spray. So here we go, we've got this now, and I wanted to show you how this instantly looks when we put it against here, and it's all coming together so nicely. So if you look at that, that's the look we wanted to go for. And I'm going to take my Kit and Caboodle glue gun. Always make sure your glue comes to the project, you're not taking your project to the glue gun. So, love this glue gun, it doesn't even drip. I can leave it there sat on waiting for me, and it's not dripping at all, and it's not going to burn me, it's perfect. And it will give me a great adhesion, and I know that it's not going to ruin my project, it's not going to burn anything, but the glue that comes out is perfect. So as you can see here, I'm going to go straight, and that's got such a nice pointed nib on there. It's not going to go everywhere, it's so precise, so I would definitely recommend these. These are my go-to products. I'm going to go straight on the bottom, here we are, and down here. And I'm using hot glue for this. You could use any glue, you could use a wood glue, paper glue, craft glue. The reason for doing that is pure the time, so I can show you how it's going to look when it's finished. And the last bit that I want to show you for this is the MDFs, one of my favourite pieces from this collection. Sorry, do excuse me, I don't know what's going on here. Need a drink again. Probably best leave it out, sorry. Here we are, so the MDF mouldings, brilliant to use, absolutely love them. So we can mould this to any surface. If you've got a round vase, plant pot, you can actually heat these up, add water to them, and they're going to be pliable. They instantly turn into almost clay. They are brilliant. But I'm going to use these on a flat surface today, so we don't need to do any of that. Really easy working, literally just paint and go straight from the packet. And I've got one painted up in the taffy already. And all I'm going to do is brush over that with the mould green again, and I want all of these taffy as well. And it's a really quick, easy way, and they're so effective. So I'm going to go straight in with my stipple brush with that green on, take the excess off, and as you can see, as soon as I brush over that, we're catching all of the edges on the top, and it is perfect, and it creates such a nice finish. It's that easy to do, and your MDF pieces come in so many different shapes and sizes, and they're really ornate. They will add so many features to your products, and you will get such a nice three-dimensional look. And with these, I'm going to just place them in no particular way. I think that looks quite nice. Got one that's going to go here, and some that will be going on the front. So if I add a bit of hot glue to these, here we are. You could use the Magifix glue. That is a brilliant one for working with the MDF. Love that glue, and it does actually dry quite quick as well, especially if you're wanting to create quite a lot and you're too eager to pick it up. It's good to have a quick drying glue. Here we are. And I'm just going to show you sticking these pieces on. There we are. I think that will look quite nice there, like that. So that's those. And for the last one we've got, I think it just needs one extra little thing. I'm just going to quickly check my comments to see if anyone has said anything else. Let's have a look. So Nikki has broken one of her MDFs before, and that's not an issue. I do it all of the time. Sometimes if you've not put enough heat on there, or you've not put enough water on, and you bend it a little too quickly, it will snap, and that's one of its features. So don't think you've broken it in a bad way. It's perfect because it will go straight back together. All you need is some water, some glue, pop it back together, let it dry, and it will be good to go. So don't ever worry about that. I do it all of the time. In fact, I've got a box full of broken ones, and they actually come in, if you don't want to put them back together, they come in useful when you're doing your backgrounds and your canvases, as they'll give you so much texture. They're perfect, so hang on to them. They will definitely come in use. And what my last step is, I'm going to pop this up so you can definitely see what I'm doing here, is I'm going to take some of the Cadence finger wax, and this is brilliant. And I don't need gloves for this. It's not toxic, it's not going to hurt my fingers, and it's going to dry quickly, spread nicely. Take a little bit and just run all over the surface, and this is just going to catch the edges. And it's water-based as well, so if you do get in areas that you don't want it to settle, get a wet wipe, it'll come straight off, so don't worry about that. And that's one key feature of all of Cadence products. They're all water-based. You've got no toxic items in there. They are brilliant, so you always know that it's safe to use, and they're going to always give you the effect that you want. They are absolutely brilliant. So I'll pop some on that one there just so you can see. And this is going to catch the light. It's going to look stunning when it's definitely all in place. And one thing I haven't done with this, which I think would be really nice if anyone else wants to do one, is if you were to have some hooks in here. You could have some key hooks, pop your letters in there. I think it'd all come together really nicely. So that's the project. And you can see how quick that was to make. I would love to see if anyone does anything like this at home, see what you can come up with, and the variation in the products. You can do absolutely anything with them. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be doing more videos like this soon, so definitely keep up to date watching, and I will give you more projects and inspiration. Thank you.